Mike Damergis here with the man they call Nails, and it's hard to believe 31 years ago, Lenny, the Mets made a run to the World Series. You won 108 games during the regular season, but you ran into Mike Scott and the Astros in Game 3. You hit a home run off of Dave Smith to win it with a two-run shot in the bottom of the ninth, and I remember the post-game press conference you saying, last time I did something like that was playing the game of Stratomatic.
Yeah, I did. That was crazy. Well, it's funny because that game kept us from not having to face Mike Scott in Game 7 because, you know, he was pretty, like, for us, unhittable. I mean, especially at the Dome. So that whole '86 year was kind of, like, amazingly crazy. The fact that, you know, Nepper's got a one-hitter going into the ninth, up 3-0, with Mike Scott going Sunday the next day wasn't looking good. But then, you know, combine that with the World Series, we lose the first two at home. That was an amazing. I mean, that was a crazy year. Still, it's like almost hard to believe that we won that. You know.
And also, that Astros team had Nolan Ryan on the staff, and three of your wins were by 1 run as well against the Astros.
I own Nolan Ryan though. He couldn't get me out. He didn't like me very much. Yeah, but no. Yeah, that was. I think if you take '86 and you combine the playoffs and the World Series, I think it'd be hard for us to find a better World Series playoffs than World Series. I mean, I don't know. I mean, because of the crazy, it was just so like we're one out away from elimination in like both, you know, the playoffs and World Series. So, I mean, I don't think I'm stretching it when I say '86. What happened in the playoffs and World Series is probably the most incredible like season in baseball history because of the way things unfolded. You know, so as a privilege and honor to be a part of that. You know.
And you look at that team: Darryl Strawberry, Keith Hernandez, Gary Carty, Howard Johnson, Ray Knight. You were really the bat at the top of that lineup, and you really got things started. You were the catalyst for that team.
Yeah, when a right-hander pitched, I was. But you know, the one thing about that team was we all got along, and so even though me and Mookie Wilson like competed for a job, we got along great, and he was a great guy and great teammate. So that's, you know, that was one of them teams where everybody like at some point during the season contributed to help win. That's what it takes to win. You know, win the whole thing. You know.
In the World Series, you're down 2-0. You go to Boston, you take 2 out of 3. Then Game 6. Where were you going to the bottom of the ninth inning there?
I was sitting next to this guy actually, and I said to Howard, I said to Howard, I said, like, I can't believe we're going to lose the World Series. And then like, I think somebody like Carter hit a bloop, and then Mitchell hit a like, and next thing you know, like Game 7. I don't even remember Game 7. I mean, I know that we were losing, but. We knew we were going to win Game 7 no matter what after Game 6, you know.
When you look back at that team now, 31 years later, do you have any regrets as far as maybe this team could have won another World Series?
Well, we would have won in '88 if the manager would have did his job, but he failed to do his job, which cost all the players, which cost the fans, which cost the organization, and ultimately he failed himself. And you know, he's paid a lot of money to make the right decision. We had a guy in the bullpen like trying to break the door down to come in. That didn't.
You're talking about Dwight Gooden facing Mike Scioscia, right?
No, way before that. I'm talking about Randy Myers, who was like unhittable in the whole month of September. And so, I mean, Gooden, you know, was our best pitcher, but he pitched a good game. I mean, but he wasn't masterful. He got through 8 innings and then had a 2-run lead going into the ninth. The one player that Gooden couldn't get out was leading off the ninth, and that was John Shelby. He'd already had 2 hits against Gooden earlier in the game, and you're talking about a guy that owned a 261 on base percentage, but he also owned Dwight Gooden. So Gooden got him 0-2, couldn't put him away, and before, like, you know what, Davey doesn't go get him because Scioscia comes up and he knows he's getting the first pitch fastball and he wraps it around the foul pole, and the whole stadium went dead silent. And at that point, it was over. We all knew it. So did the fans.
And a year later, you were traded to the Phillies. How did you take that when you were traded to the Phillies?
I said, wait, you mean that team that I just kicked their ass? Because we were playing against them. We're actually playing the Phillies when I got traded to the Phillies. So I said, wait, do I walk to like meet him at home plate, or where do I meet him? It was really an odd deal. Howard, remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So when they said I was traded, they said you're traded to the Phillies. I said, wait, the team I just like buried.
You made the most of it, though. You went to the World Series in '93, a guy behind the plate, a leader, Dutch Dalton. You had it also with the Mets, Gary Carter. And that Phillies team was a unique team, to say the least.
And nobody wanted any part of us that year. I mean, whereas, you know, in New York, they, like, throw coins at you. In Philly, they throw batteries at you, you know? So nobody wanted, it's like in New York. When we were at Shea, nobody wanted to play us. And in Philadelphia, the same thing, you know. So, yeah, I was pretty lucky to be part of probably two of the best sports towns in all of sports, you know.
And one final question: a lot of Met fans love the '86 team. You know, and a lot of fans are concerned. How's Lenny Dykstra doing these days?
How am I doing these days? I'm doing great. I mean, like, I just wrote a New York Times bestseller. I'm getting teeth here in like 2 more weeks. No, like really good ones. I'm okay, man. I'm good. You know, I mean, I don't live in the past. I live my life going forward. So, I'm getting ready to do a big show that's going to be like a docudrama. Yeah. The bottom line is, at the end of the day, it's all about having something to look forward to. So I'm as good as I was at any time.
And you always have something to fall back on. The 1986 Mets, certainly a very special memory.
Oh, the best. I mean, to win in New York at the age I was at, like, you know, I feel very fortunate and like I'm grateful, you know. I mean, when I go to New York, every time I go to New York, the fans all remember and recognize it. That team had a special. I don't think there'll ever be a team like that again. You know, I mean, we had there was charisma, there was excitement, we had them curtain calls, and then there was a blend of young guys and old guys, and it was actually an amazing season, you know.
And you own the back pages in New York. It would have been nice if you had interleague play back then.
Yeah, but we stole the thunder from the Yankees for a while, so that was good, you know. So, like I said, that was I mean, if you take that season and you look at the postseason, you know, with the you know, Astros, and then the World Series when no team would ever come back down 0-2. I mean, I think Kansas City might have, but to go into Boston and then take 2 out of 3 and come back, and then the way that season ended, I'll tell you the most kind of awe-inspiring thing was the ticker tape parade. Like, that was surreal, you know, like all these people hanging out at buildings and, like, you know, in New York City. That was pretty awesome, you know.
And you were pretty awesome in the World Series. 2 home runs, batted .296 in '86, and then '93, 4 home runs for the Phillies. So you had batted .348 also. So you had 6 home runs in the World Series. So you were pretty awesome yourself.
Oh, thanks. You know, I just I like to play when something matters. You know, when the game is on the line. So, you know, I've always considered myself, you know, to be a winning player, and that's at the end of the day what matters is if you can get, you know, a team firing on all cylinders and a manager that knows how to incentivize and motivate his players with some pitching, you got a good chance, you know.